Okay, lovely.
Teamwork. Final three right here. And good evening, everyone. As we just revealed our alliance of three right here, getting to the end of live reality games covering Mayhem Manor Season 3. That ding on my phone was saying we just went live here on Facebook.com/live reality games and also on our YouTube channel, Live Reality Games LRG. So make sure you like the button, subscribe it, and check out all these wonderful podcasts we're having. Speaking of, we have two very special guests here tonight with us. We have Evie. Evie, welcome. Evie was a returning player in the Mayhem series. You played season 2 and 3, is that correct?
I was actually an original. This was my first season, so I luckily was able to keep my place.
Nice.
Minus all the craziness.
Well, congratulations. I'm super excited that you were here. Of course, during your cast assessment, which we'll talk about a little bit later, but you had high reviews of everyone not even knowing who you were. And unfortunately, unfortunately, the way that you took a picture, you were too nice in the picture. So, folks, next time, don't look as happy. So, however, even though I picked this gentleman to win the whole game, his cast assessment did not hurt him as much. So we are joined here with the winner. Congratulations again. Jake, welcome.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
How are you doing tonight here, sir?
I'm doing well. It was nice to have a weekend, to go just chill, because like that last weekend was super crazy, but took it full advantage of relaxing this weekend. That's for sure.
Nice. So the folks at home that maybe are not as familiar with the Mayhem Manor series, it operates similar to the game style similar to the challenge. That is, there's a bunch of different challenges people play in. And then whoever loses the challenge, typically done in pairs. However, this season, there was a big twist, which we'll get to at the start. Usually the individuals pair off and then they have a duel and somebody's eliminated from that. So it's a lot about alliances, a lot about challenges and winning challenges. Jake, what did you know about the series before getting into this Mayhem Manor?
Heather Wakefield was the one who really put me on to it, because she competed in season 1, I think. Yeah, season 1, she made it to final 3, and then I kind of watched it a little bit last year, but not a whole lot. So I knew that it was kind of a big deal, and Heather was the one who pushed me to actually sign up for it and everything, and so I did and got chosen, and I was actually kind of shocked.
Well, we're super excited you got chosen because, like I said, you are typically kind of from my hometown of Grand Rapids, so I'm glad you were able to go and represent. And of course, as we reviewed the geography with Evie, Grand Rapids right here, that we all know. Yeah, Evie, you shared with us earlier you're actually from Maryland. I know Jay kind of knows Heather from the online game world. How did you get introduced to this series, Evie?
So I used to just play back in the old days, just on college campus, a group of friends, probably using our sidekicks and texting each other, let's meet up at 8:30 and play Big Brother downstairs. There was no community, online presence. We're just a bunch of knuckleheads, bored on a Tuesday.
And that's really how these games got started. From my perspective, these live games, my partner used to play with a group of friends back in the day when they were just camping. And so everyone has their different routes to get here. And we've all kind of found this community, which is great and brings out great events like this. Of course, viewers at home, please feel free to comment and ask away for our contestants here tonight. Nothing too hard. Remember, they're done with the game. They can just tell about all their secrets now. We do have Nate checking us out here. Icons. So for the two of you, nice.
Shout out to Nate or Tater.
Yeah, Nate.
I'm not the icon, so icons and Dustin. LOL. So I'll take that. I'll take that how it is. So, well, let's start. Mayhem Manor typically is ran with pairs. What were your two thought processes? Because typically there's a point system you can allocate to who you want to be paired up with. And there's a formula, there's the spreadsheet or something that goes on. So what were you thinking going in when you saw the cast of there was 27 other people, I want to say. 29 in total, or was there 28? 28.
There's 29.
29. See, I was
Yeah,
close. I was
29.
close. So what did you think of the other 28 contestants? We'll start with the winner, Jake. Did you recognize anyone? Were you scared, or did you meet a new friendly face?
There was like a handful of people that from like online games and stuff that I've known through like games, or like they've hosted me in a game and stuff. But like Dave was actually the one person that I had played a live game with that was in this game too. And so he was somebody like going in there I knew that I was going to reach out to. And like everybody else that I knew like had priorities like elsewhere too. So, I knew I couldn't depend too heavily on previous relationships. So I kind of just tried to vibe around and kind of go with, how I was feeling at that moment, when I first started.
Yeah. Now, Evie, you said you were a little bit removed from the current org, as they call it, online reality games, which is like a live game just played on the computer per se. So how about you? How many faces did you recognize, or did you know about these pre-game knowledge that people knew each other?
I had a sense, that of course, people probably knew each other from the scene or whatever, but I kind of wanted it to be like more to my advantage of not having that like predisposed judgment, about this person is this, and they're besties, so therefore they're going to do this, just kind of like letting each individual play the game, because we didn't know how we were all going to be paired up. So we didn't get that like pre-calculated spreadsheet, or like who do you want to be your number one. So it was like really a free for all. And it's like just trying to keep that like open mind of letting it be a free for all, and just kind of letting it happen. Because like even like on night 0, we still didn't even know how to play the game.
So going in after you saw everyone, and kind of sounds like you kind of knew what happened in the previous seasons, did you two have any maybe like top 3 people that you wanted to put a lot of points on? Anybody that particular?
Well, for me, like again, I knew I wanted to work with Dave right away, and then I wanted to work with Peyton because I knew Peyton was going to be one of those people that was like very well connected as well, and he was one of the very few people that like reached out to me pregame as well, and so I felt pretty comfortable with him. And then Mark was another person like off the bat that I felt pretty confident with. But as the game went on, man, like people started to show.
It always does. You can go in with a game plan, then it just switches around.
It turned like mine turned upside down completely. So
all true.
Evie, did you have anyone in particular that maybe you wanted to work with if this would be a partners kind of season?
I didn't. I guess like I just kind of just got like just good juju, you know what I mean, from like everybody walking in. And it's so funny because people are like, "Where's the drama? Where's the drama?" I'm like, "Oh, y'all like each other." I'll work with that guy. I'll work with her. She seems pretty nice, One night, like even night 0, me and Jake were sitting up like in the kitchen, like, and we just like connected over like a pot of tea, like randomly. I like this guy.
We're good,
The big question, was it like an herbal tea, or was it more like the dark gray stuff, like a green tea maybe?
Just a pot to make a cup of noodles. It wasn't fancy. It was
It was just taking a million years for the water to like boil, and we were just standing there and
like contemplating our lives over this like tea kettle.
Granted, it was like at 3 a.m, but like no big deal.
So for anyone that has questions about joining these games or anything, this is the experience and the connections you make with people. 2 people that have no idea who each other are. They bond over a cup of tea that takes forever to brew. See, the magic of a live reality game. So
it's true.
Well, we were talking about some of your contestants at first. Like, did you have any initial thoughts of, say, other people that are checking out this video right now? We have Bill chiming in.
Yeah.
Hey. And then Papa, I believe his name is. He goes by the scene. And then Nick also tuning in. So thanks for checking us out, everyone. And remember, post your questions. We'll get to your questions later during the interview. So we talked about the initial meeting of anyone, and you kind of recognized a few faces who you wanted to work with, perhaps. What was your first thought when they said, "We're switching to teams this season"? Jake, any thoughts?
I was just like, okay, everybody's strategy like coming into this game just totally went out the window because like being on teams, you can have an individual relationship with somebody, but if they're not on your team, you know, then it's like, okay, there's only so much they can do. Like, I was kind of excited about it because the duo thing kind of like made me nervous, but it was just like, wow, nobody prepared for that.
Now, Evie, we saw it on your expression there in the video, but for the people paying attention to the podcast here, what were your thoughts about switching to a team as based from a pair challenge kind of thing?
It was, like I said, it just was like a mind blower because it's like, that's not how this game is played, like, but I think it also was like, okay, you thought you had this, you thought you knew how it went. So it was like, oh, and that's the first twist. Now you've got to re-strategize. Now you've got to figure it out. Okay. You thought you knew how to win. It's like you didn't.
Now, Evie, as they declared the tribes or anything, how did they do that? Was it a random selection or did people volunteer?
So they just asked the group, does anyone want to be captain? And people just sat there in silence.
Oh.
And some people just were like, I'll do it. I was not one of those people.
Was that a thought process that you did not clearly want to be captain?
Oh, wow. Like I said, literally from the time I got in, it was just madness. Oh, did we lose Dustin?
Okay, it's the Jake and Evie show now, so
I totally hit the back button on this new fancy mouse. There are too many buttons on this mouse, folks, so I'm sorry I popped off camera for just a moment. Evie, you were saying how they picked captains and how you did not want to be a captain.
Yeah, it was just, just literally just out to the masses. Like, would you like to step up and volunteer? And, some people just put their captain hat on and did, and other of us did not.
I see Jake shaking your head too. Not the captain type, sir?
not that early, like, because I feel like, being a captain, you're picking like your team, and then you're kind of like showing your relationships a little bit, right away, like through the people that you're picking. And then it's just like a lot. Like, I mean, more power to the people who did it, who wanted to take control and wanted to make sure that they were on a good team. But, I was like, okay, nope, you guys can do it.
And especially when we didn't know the rules at that point,
right.
Because I was thinking, okay, what if you're captain and then it's like every time your team loses, you go in as the captain? You know what I mean? You didn't know how the game worked enough. Like, I'm gonna wait for this one.
And it seems to pay off for you as well, Evie. You got further than half place, pretty much. So you made it past merge, we could say. I guess if this was a typical Survivor, or you made jury, probably if this was Big Brother. So you did very well. So also, Peyton is saying icons to the two of you. Peyton does have a question, which we'll save till later. So
Peyton's an icon.
There you go, Peyton. Did you hear that? Let's see here. So teams go up. Jake, what were your initial thoughts of your team? Do you remember who you got paired with? I had pictures at one point.
Yeah, I know Romeo was was the captain, and it was like Romeo, me, Santiago, Nicole, Nate, Slade, and Nick F. And so right away, I loved it. I liked that team because, I felt like I had a pretty good, relationship with most of the people on my team. But then when we lost the first challenge, it was so crazy because nobody wanted to get up and nobody wanted to go talk one-on-one. So we literally sat in a circle and nobody said anything. And we just pointed with our eyes, who we wanted to vote. and
you were trying the telepathy technique. I've never heard that working on one of these games. Got some wavelengths going on.
And apparently I got the wrong read because I voted for Slade, but Nick went in. So it was oops. But no, I liked my team originally, but we just couldn't win. We always got second.
Honestly, the white team was the team I was cheering for. I had 2 out of the 4 people, so I just went with the odds in my favor. So I was like, there's 2 of them on this white team, so I'm going to go with that team. So not on the white team was Evie. Evie, what did you feel about your initial team that you got put with?
Team Blue.
Team Blue. Hey, they pulled it out. They were like really strong eventually.
Well, apparently, there's a thing about Team Blue that I wasn't aware of. It's like the unlucky color. Who knew, right? I was very satisfied with my team. It was me, Dominique was our captain, Kytrell, Conrad, Manny, and Peyton.
I think a very well-rounded team, and
I thought so too.
Mm-hmm.
Sounded good to me. Like, oh, and Papa, he was on there too. But it felt good, you know.
We had a second cast assessment, and we thought the blue team was really well-rounded, and there were some physical players, more probably mental, strategic players. So we really had high hopes for Team Blue, and Team Blue did bring it home at the end. But
poor Team Blue. Sorry, I didn't mean to forget you.
We had a fan from Papa there. Hashtag Team Blue. So there we go. All right, so I guess we'll start with like the challenges. Jake, you mentioned earlier, white team did not win. Remind us, do you remember what the challenge was per se?
The first one?
Yep.
So everybody had to like line up kind of like front yardish area, and like everybody was in a line, and then they would tell us a certain colored ping pong ball that we had to go find in the front yard. And there was only like a certain amount, so like every round there'd be like 4 or 5 or something like people like eliminated who didn't have a ball. And then but like the people who got eliminated, they got to answer like a bonus question when they got out, and if they got it right, they got to like take a point away from the team.
Oh, what were the points or the questions kind of based around? Just trivia?
They were all like based around the cast photos and like the memory wall.
Oh, okay. So you had to be observant. So
yeah.
Evie, how was the first challenge for you? Were you one of those runners or?
Well, Bill said it best. So Team Blue was playing an honest game. We were running, you know, picking up a ball, maybe throwing one to our partner. Oh my God, the other teams were out there like kicking balls across the yard, stuffing them down their shirt. Like, I won't call names, but at one point, like one person's like, like, it's like, oh, that's how we're playing the game. Didn't know.
Yeah, it sounds like Bill was saying that was probably Team Red by that comment. So yeah. Team Red, you had a lot of balls going on. So
right.
Needless to say, they won.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I guess it's always strategic to like outthink a challenge or maybe like rig it in a way to give you a slight advantage. But it sounds like they had a very big advantage after collecting so many of them. So
yeah.
Right. Like I think I remember Slade coming over and saying like, yeah, I found their stash on the side of the house. And so he like one of the rounds, I think he like grabbed it from the stash and like threw it or something. He like destroyed their stash, and like that was around like a lot of red people got out. So we were like, okay.
We were like, hey!
still lost, but you know, that was fun.
If I remember correctly, and I'm thinking back to the graphs that we had that were wonderfully made by Jake. Another Jake, not Jake here with us because you were a little bit busy with the game. But he made graphs, and I think Team Red 3 in a row at first, right? They just dominated.
That was a stressful morning. that was not the start to the game that any of us wanted.
So both of your teams lost, Team Blue and Team White with us here tonight. So you went up for votes. Can you talk about a little bit, Evie, how the votes went? Did you vote like as a team, or was this kind of a consensus thing with each team, or was it different for each team?
So each losing team had to nominate someone from their team to go play for them, to go into the arena. And then the winning team got to pick anyone from any of the other losing teams to go in as well.
Oh, okay. And it sounds like we kind of talked about a little bit earlier, Jake, but you and Nick were in the minority for voting round 1. So
yeah. like because nobody got up and talked. We literally all like sat in a circle, and so like I thought I had people signaling more to Slade at the time than signaling to Nick, but then of course Slade was signaling to Nick. So I'm just like what do I do? And I'm like, okay, I'll vote Slade. It's fine, And then when I heard the vote was 5-2. I'm like, oh,
Yeah. That's a great way to
good.
be in the minority at first, right?
Right, but then of course, Slade came to me and I was like, "Yeah, dude, I voted to keep you. You're fine." And it was
You of
like,
course have to tell those every so often.
"Yeah,
Amy, was
sorry.
it similar
I'm
in your
sorry."
group? Did you all kind of use like the telepathy method, or was it kind of more
No,
like,
we tried to talk it out, but it also became hard because there was the Bay twist on it. So you kind of didn't want to vote someone out who had a Bay, and I don't know. Then people were saying they were Bays of other people, and I don't know. I don't know.
oh,
I barely know how to play the game.
yeah. So besides switching it up between a team-based competition, a duo-based competition, and changing it to a team-based, they also threw a new twist, a Baywatch twist.
Mhm.
So everyone, as I understand, had a secret partner in the game, and if you and your secret partner went further in the game, you got an advantage. Is that correct?
So if you and your Bay made it to top two, then you won. You doubled your money. Your Bay did not win anything.
Oh,
Yeah.
So you just brought this person along with you to advance your game, not theirs.
yeah. Now, this was a huge discussion in the group chat, too, while we were watching the show, because we watched this live when it was taking place down in Florida over, I'm looking at my calendar right there, the beginning of the month, the 6th through the 9th. So just a few weeks ago, we were watching, and we had a huge group chat. There were hundreds of us at some point just chiming in and keeping up. And that was always a huge thing because we never knew who your secret Bay was. So at this point, if people don't know, Jake and Evie, who were your Bays? We'll start with Evie.
My Bay was Dominique.
Oh,
I was out of $1,200 before the game even started.
and Dominique picked you, correct? Because she was your team captain.
She picked me. Yeah, she picked me to be on her team, but she had no idea that she was my Bay.
Wow, how that worked out. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
So had it worked out right, we probably could have.
You would have been fine with it. Sure. Let's keep going, Dominique. Jake, what about you?
Mine was Benner.
Benner? Okay.
Yeah.
And Benner was not the Nick that was on your team, correct? Because there were two Nicks
Correct.
playing.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Benner started on the precious red team, so he stayed nice and safe for the first half of the. Oh, that red team.
That red team.
Oh, poor red team. I wonder if red team's going to be here next week, so I'm going to have to deal with red team. Uh-oh. All right, so it takes us to the next voting thing. Next competition happens. Who gets out of the duels, I guess we could say. Because you all nominate and then go into duels, or like in the arena.
Mm-hmm.
I want to use the correct terminology, so I'm working on it, Neville. I'm really working on it. All right, duels happen. You nominate Nick. You guys nominate from blue team?
Papa.
Do we remember who else went up?
Alex went up from black, and then red team sent in Dominique.
Gotcha.
Which I don't understand why they sent Dominique in. I'm still confused on that, honestly.
Apparently,
So if anybody from Red wants to put in the chat,
I see some people in the chat field. So anybody wants to chime up for Red and answer that question. I did remember we ended our last recap with a picture of Dominique just hanging out in the hot tub, having a drink or something. So, and I guess that's really the experience of Mayhem Manor. Even if you were voted out early, you still have a great time. There's a ton of stuff to do, tons of things to do on campus, especially during this time that you did have to stay on the property. But it was a lot of fun, even if you are voted out. And this live game is more of kind of a vacation getaway from some that are a little bit more survival based, such as Jake's Real Foot experience, right?
Yeah, this was total opposite.
Let's see here. So our next elimination goes. Do we remember the next challenge?
I think it was the definitions.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And they gave us definitions of TV shows, and we had to chime in with the correct TV show.
Oh, okay. I think I'd be good at that one.
Yeah, that was really fun.
Yeah. Oh, how did we do?
Oh, I did really good. I was the last man standing.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice job.
I got 1 point.
You
And then we
You
were
got 1 point. Okay, Jake, good job. So, Evie, good job. Unfortunately, that red team did pull it off again. So,
yeah, of course.
Now looking at the teams when they initially got picked, did you think that red team was going to school it from then?
I honestly, I think more of the talk was that people were, I think, really intimidated by the black team, like red at first.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of like what I was hearing at first, and like red team, like I don't know, I feel like they almost like came out of nowhere. I mean, like no team was like super weak or anything, but
And remember, it was like the thing. So once you win your arena, you can choose to go back to your same team or to a new team. So everyone wasn't coming back to the originals; they were going to black. So at one point, and black team had like 13 players, and everyone else has like 5.
Right. Yeah. So that's another thing. People just keep
in that game. Like I said, I ended up being like one of the last people standing, but it was because we were running out of people. We just kept eliminating them because they had so many people on their team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's crazy. They can throw like one twist at you in the beginning and then throw another one. And then, hey, there's another one. So this is a whole new game.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Keep us on our toes.
Let's see. Any reactions to who you put up? Jake, did you end up with the telepathy circle again with your team? And
for round 2, yeah, it was basically because Slade had thought that Nate was the one who voted him in round 1, and so like Slade like was coming after Nate like pretty hard, and so like people kind of were intimidated by Nate a little bit at first, so that's who we threw in that round. And I don't think I voted Nate in either, actually. I can't remember. I think I might have voted Slade again, honestly. I don't
might as well just stick with it again. You were wrong the first time, second time you might get it this time.
Right, because I didn't want it, like, because Nate was one of our like super strong people at the time, and I was like, we had a real foot connection too, so I was like, I don't really want to like throw him in, but everyone else did, so
you gotta go. Avi, how was your scramble there?
Yeah, it's like you kind of just want to win them so bad so you don't have to scramble.
Did you feel like you were safe for doing so well in that challenge? They got to keep you safe, right?
I didn't. I kind of and I didn't at the same time. I think it was after the first elimination, like when it was split, me and Dominique were 5 and 2. So it was like, we barely have even got a chance to play yet. So once like your name is said like 20 minutes into the game, you're like, I'm not safe anymore. Like I don't trust anyone. Forget it.
Well, I was trying to pull some photos. We did get some shout outs from the audience here. It looks like Peyton was also Dominique's bae.
Yes.
That's interesting how that happened.
Isn't that crazy?
You got the same pair. Yeah.
We're just all like one little triangle on the same team, like trying to do great.
Let's see here. Bill says the black team just looked pretty. So that's what their target was from. So
Oh yes, we did spin a bottle. We did.
Oh my god.
Oh, you spun a bottle?
We did. We did. We were like, I don't know.
Well, there you go. Yeah, Peyton, that was a great, it's a random odds. Like, it's a game, right? So luck has to come into it at some point. So let's see. So we do we have the next thing of, there we are. So now we can see it on screen.
There we go.
I knew I would find it eventually. Once again, Jake, thank you for all the hard work you put in on these wonderful graphics. So props to you. So it looks like the second round, Peyton, Nate, Nicole, and Matt were put up. Two of our favorites as well from early cast assessment. That darn cast assessment, I guess, looking back, maybe, I don't know, like it paid off for some people, such as Jake, that you made it through. And then some people, Evie, we had no idea who you were. And you just took a really nice picture. So,
darn it, these good looks.
I don't really. I think all of our comments were like, "Oh, she's so nice," and it's just,
we weren't worthy. People. That's what it was. We're not worthy for you.
Whatever. You guys are all icons according to all this chat that's coming in. Don't worry. Let's see here. So Nicole and Matt get sent home. Now there was a special twist, like
crazy
partner both went home or something. Like they paired up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they had to do the iconic chess piece, run and find, pretty much. I don't know what the exact term is. So
yeah, checkmate is the name of the.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, that was crazy, honestly, because because that's when they voted in, or the red team voted in Nicole, who Nicole was like a very strong force on our white team. She was somebody kind of like holding it down a little bit. So that was kind of crazy. And then to see Nate, because Nate got the opportunity to pick who he wanted to partner up with, and he chose to partner up with Peyton when everybody thought that he should have partnered up with Matt from the black team, because those two were seemingly the two more athletic. But I don't know. That was exciting to watch. So.
As soon as they said it was checkmate, he was like, "I got it."
Man.
Nate was the perfect partner to have in that one. Whoever had Nate in that was gonna win. That's just how it was. Whoever was partners with Nate, he
was just like,
just chucking it. He's like, I broke 5 pieces during that game.
Oh no. But Nate is super strong. Just looking at even his cast photo, we said it. We were like, oh my gosh, he's super strong. So,
right.
Yes, Bill said he was throwing them miles away.
Right. Yeah. Not even.
There you go. But Bill, at the same time, look at your photo. I'm sure you could throw them at least meters away or something like that.
Right.
So.
Exactly.
So let's pull up this next one here. So our next round, we have Conrad, Papa, and Alex, and Marcelino. So we heard it in the chat. Is this where somebody gets hurt?
This is when Clayton decides to take himself out of the game, I believe.
Yeah. So a minor injury, it comes to find out. So everyone's doing okay from what I've heard on the chat groups. So what was the challenge? Do you recall that third challenge?
Oh my God, it was so long ago. I'm trying to remember.
The arena with the twisted tiles where you had to do the Scrabble tiles. Oh, it was it the golf? It was the golf.
It was the golf. Yeah. It was the putt. Yep. Okay. I remember. Again, white team came in second, so that was fun. We came in second every time, and we actually went into a tiebreaker. Red team and white team tied, and then so we had to send out our best golfer, and so we sent out Slade and they sent out Benner, and then Benner won. And it's just just get our hopes up a little.
Took down that red team almost.
No,
Jake, come on.
that red team was unstoppable. Let's be real. God, just every time they won, everybody was like, "Ugh." You could feel the eye roll, just the.
All right, so it seems like both the blue team and the white team have very different strategies of picking people. Evie, how did your team decide who you put up this time? Because it looks like you put up Conrad to go up.
So this time we said, everyone's going to try to make the shots, and we're just kind of trying to be fair. If you at least kind of got some points or did something, then you would be safe for it. So then Conrad. He was like, you know what, I made the least points, so I'll go in.
That's super honorable. And did you have that discussion prior to the game? Is that kind of how?
Yeah, because he
went?
said, at least if we're trying to move our team forward, let's try to at least keep us around. You know what I mean? If we don't have our best round, it's okay. Just take one for your team.
My gosh, this blue team. I like this blue team even more as I hear about them. They seem fair and organized.
Like blue team was like, we were just kind of like looking out for each other and just trying to play like, an honest game, at least with each other, until we had to break up and,
Mm-hmm.
be nasty. But even that never happened because we still all ended up together in the end.
I guess honing back in, Jake, you did get placed on the white team, which is kind of ironic by your t-shirt choice at the first cast video. So I won't bring it up very much, but if anybody needs to rewatch it, and Jake has now fixed his white t-shirt. So
it was meant to be. It was meant to be.
Now, Jake, telepathy again this next round, or did you actually decide to talk to people?
I mean, this one I think is when white team started to actually play a little bit, because Papa had joined our team after he had won the first duel or arena. But then at that point, Nicole was gone. And so you had Papa and Slade that were kind of together. And then Nate decided to come back to white team, I think. Or did Nate come back to white team? I can't remember. I think so. Yeah, I think he came back to white team, and I didn't vote him in that last round, so I didn't want to vote him in again. And I was still kind of partners with Romeo and Santiago at the time. The three of us kind of had a thing going, and so it basically came down we wanted to vote in Papa, so I felt bad. I felt bad because I liked Papa, but.
Yeah, Papa and Nicole were always rumored to work together. I think they were on production for the Ascendance game, for the live game.
Yeah.
I think they're working together. I think that probably put a target out there too. Ascendance will be coming live hopefully next year. So make sure everyone checking at home to sign up for the applications when they do come available. I guess we have a wonderful swap now. This is everyone's favorite worst twist ever. Yeah, by far, everyone. It happens on the real game shows, happens in live games and everything like that. Tribe swap, team swap is always a hard one to recover from. So it looks like teams were swapped. How were they swapped? I didn't really see that part.
I think Papa and Alex, since they won that arena right before that, they got to handpick the teams.
Mm-hmm.
So they just went into a room together and they got to decide who was on what team. That's a lot of power for someone who just voted into the arena.
Did you get a chance to talk to them? Did you get to plead a pitch or anything? It was just straight into, oh gosh.
It was they won their arena. They chose what team or whatever they wanted to be on. And then they were like, okay, go upstairs. and then it's wait, what's going on?
Yeah, it was a bonus surprise power, I guess. So
yeah, that was
I think, is this the team swap here? Let me see if I have everyone. Help me out if this is. So does that look like the swap, or is that after?
Yeah, that looks about right.
That looks right.
That's it. That's after a little bit.
It should be.
Two more.
That's
okay,
after.
We'll pop back for a moment. All right. So we got a few more eliminations before we get to that wonderful graphic.
Yeah.
So we have our next competition. Looks like black team finally pulls out a win after the team swap. So I know there is. Hey, looks like Evie made it on the black team that time. So Evie, since you were on the black team, tell us, how did that swap go for you? It sounds pretty advantageous for that.
Well, it's funny because we switched to the black team, but it was still 3 original blue team members on the black team.
So you were blue and black at the same time. So
yeah,
you were black and blue, and then you came back to win it. So that's good.
And me, Emmanuel, and Kytrell, who were originally blue, and then we paired up with Mark and Romeo to make the black team. Yeah.
And then, Jake, do you remember which team you got popped into?
Yeah, I ended up on the blue team at that point, and the funny thing is, it was me from white team, and then it was Dave, Benner, Laurel, Corian, and Josh, all from OG Red.
Oh,
So I
they
was
didn't really
just like,
swap the teams too much from the sound of it.
no, and like I thought it was Papa trying to get back at me for voting me in. He's like, "There you go. We'll throw you on team with all red."
A big shout out to production, though. Did production tell you what the team colors were, or at least what clothing to wear? Because you all were matching beautifully, especially that first challenge. Everything looked so good. Did they tell you what colors to bring?
Yeah, I got a text at some point that was like, just make sure you have red, white,
I
black.
I did not get the memo, so I'm happy I never ended up on red because
Oh.
I did not have a red shirt. Like I had blue, black, and white, but that was it. All right, I just gotta grab my charger real quick, so don't mind me. But
Oh, no, you're fine. I can even like pop you off if we don't want a tour of your house. So see, look at that, Evie, you're here. We just put him backstage for a little bit. So I guess while we're waiting on Jake and his charger, so Jake's played these games before. Evie, have you ever played like a live reality game in general? Is this your first?
It was my first one. Yeah.
Would you ever consider like maybe a little bit of a rougher one instead of a vacation one?
Oh,
Maybe like a
no.
no.
Oh no. See, the great thing about Mayhem, it's like a vacation even while you play. So, you get eliminated, but guess what? There's a hot tub waiting outside for you. Go have a margarita. Whereas
You're like,
like real quick, it's like you got voted off and you had to sleep in the rain for 3 days.
But on Real Foot, if you get voted out, you can have a cheeseburger finally, or like a glass of pop. So,
But I can also have a cheeseburger and a glass of pop in the hot tub in Florida.
that sounds a little bit more comfy than the neck of the woods. So,
Something about a cheeseburger without the mosquitoes attacking it is just, more my speed.
Peyton from the blue team, I believe, he said the original blue team was super iconic in similar terms. So he was so supportive and comfortable going in. So that's really great. And like I said, from hearing the backstory of blue team, like blue team is definitely a team that I would be rooting for had I known all this back stuff. So
yeah, it was really like, and like it's like I said, if you're going in, it's like, you know what, go in, like do your best. It's just because someone has to go in, like come back to us, you know what I mean? And if you don't come back, it's fine, no hard feelings. Like just try to do your best there. Remember the connections you made on blue and just like try to push forward. And if you can use it to your advantage to help us later, like cool, Yeah, it was good.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of coming back, we have
all
Jake
right.
coming back from us now.
Hey, just didn't want my computer to die.
Yeah, we didn't either, so we're all good. I guess looking at the next few eliminations, anything you guys want to focus on? Like specifically, it looks like red team takes the next one, and then blue team takes one eventually. So
what was, let's see, after we switched teams, we did the first swim one, right? The trivia swim.
Yeah, that was the trivia swim that lasted one round.
One round.
Yeah.
Quick one.
Yeah.
And then what was the next challenge after that?
I think it was the memory one, wasn't it? Or was that the one before? One of them was the memory one. That one was kind of fun.
Yeah, the life of Josh. That was cool.
Yeah.
We had a Life of Josh one?
Yeah.
Oh, no, explain that one, because I know Life of Josh is starting from the totem pole. Josh, for winning the totem pole, got a super awesome prize of getting like a little mini series, I guess, filmed about him or whatever he wants to do with it. I think they're still in production with everything going on. Of course, it's everything going on right now. So what was that challenge like? I'm super excited.
So they would play like you'd send someone up from your team to like watch this video, and it was like this funny video of Josh just just being hilarious like in his apartment and stuff, and like it was the most random thing ever. But then at the end of the video, they'd ask you a true or false question about like something that was going on in the room, like something like random, like was there a book on the second shelf? And then and team with the most points ended up winning. So
Yeah, I really like that challenge. That sounds fun, and I can't wait to see Josh's show when it does come out. So
that was hilarious.
That one was, you said,
I
6 because we
think
had Nick pop in for a moment. He says that there was a battleship challenge in there too.
I think Battleship was round 5, and then I think the memory one was round 4 because the round 6 was the beer pong. I remember that because that was because I was on that team for the beer pong victory when
The winning
Josh.
one.
Yeah,
Papa
that
did
was
chime in and say that 5-1 was so good. So I can't wait to sit down with someone from the red team, probably next week, and talk all about that win. Was that an epic win from your two perspective?
I'm trying to remember if round
Which
5.
game are we talking about? Which one?
Round 5.
Papa says the win was so good. Papa was probably just on red team, and he's just trying to talk up the challenge. Those red team people.
What game was it?
Was that
Battleship? Well,
I'm trying
red
to-
team, we'll come back to you next week, and we'll go over challenge 5. All right, I guess it wasn't a.
all my losses at the beginning of the day kind of blend together. So, it wasn't till beer pong I finally won something that
And
day.
I appreciate all the help from our
the
commenters, so
one.
thank you.
That's what it was. It was like the
Oh,
OTEV.
the CDs in the
The
dark.
OTEV with the CDs. That's why I blocked that one out because I did terrible at that one. Yeah, that one was hard. That
That
one.
was so much fun. That was
It,
really fun.
it was fun, but
But it was also in the dark, which made it not
yeah,
fun.
right. Yeah, the beer pong was fun.
Yep, so we'll get there. So a beer pong, Jake, you pull out a win. Congratulations. You were like, oh yeah, I got that one. Did you get a lot of points on your team? Are you a beer pong
No,
aficionado?
I think I honestly did the worst on my team, but but I was still really excited about it. Like Josh and Benner and Dave, when they went, it was crazy. Like Josh sunk like the first 3 in, like boom, 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 and then he got like a 10, and I was like, whoa, like this is crazy. And then I go and I get like 6 points. So I'm just like, it's all right. We did. Thank you, Benner. He says I did great, but thank you. And we only had 4 people. Like that's why that win was super fun for us because like we only had 4 people. We were losing all day, and like our team dynamic was very interesting at that point. So I'm really glad we got to win and like sleep on it, and then like start fresh the next day.
Yeah, looking at the sheet, it looks like you lost 2 during the day, typically from the blue team, and then white lost 1, and then black lost 1 too, and red is still undefeated. So
I know nobody's crossed out in that red column.
Right?
not yet, at least. But so at the end of the day, I believe at the end of this round period, I think these are the current standing teams. Does that look right to you two?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So, like you said, Jake, you were down to 4. You had already kind of, you wanted to work with Dave coming in. You have Benner and Josh. What are your thoughts about your 2 remaining teammates there?
I felt really good, honestly, because like Benner was my bae, and then Josh and I had bonded a lot from being from Michigan, and I took like a leap of faith like that night, and I actually like told Josh that Benner was my bae, and like which was like iffy because they're like super close, but I wanted to keep Josh like super close because like when you have 4 people, team captain is very important because they like break the tie. So if like Benner or Josh were team captain that next round, I wanted to make sure that they weren't gonna throw me in. That so I felt pretty good though overall on there, but it was still scary only having 4.
Yeah. Well, it looks like Evie's team is down to 4 as well. Evie, it looks like you're sitting with Romeo, Mark, and Manny.
Mhm.
The thoughts about that team?
Yeah, I was happy with it. I know, especially like Mark, he really came. He was like adamant about like wanting to work together. Like we just like I'd go up the stairs and he's like coming downstairs like I want to work with you, girl. And so I'm like, okay, we can work together. So you just felt like kind of good with someone having your back like that, just even like in the hallway. And then Manny, he was my brother from the blue team. So we were trying to hold on strong from OG Blue. And Romeo actually was my roomie in the house. So
Oh, look at that.
yeah.
And then this game goes by super quick. There are so many people playing this game. It's only a limited amount of time to play. What were your thoughts about like making these quick decisions? Was this something that you were comfortable with in general? Jake, you're shaking your head, so we'll start with you. Quick decisions, go.
Like seriously, like it was so fast. Like if your team came in last in that challenge, you literally had like a minute, 2 minutes to talk with your team before you started getting called. And when they called your name, they didn't wait for you. Like they were just like, Jake, time to vote. And I'm like, wait, hold on. Jake, go vote.
Uh-oh.
And it's just like, whoa, I'm sorry. Like it just made the whole situation even more stressful because you can't really think it through, think it clearly, you just have to go with what you think is the best decision in that moment at that time.
Now, Evie, your turn. Quick thoughts. Are you a quick thinker, or are you like you normally take your time for?
It was that was like the stress of it too. It's like, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the wrong thing? I don't have time to think about it. Say a name. Go. One. And then you like come out of the diary room. You're like, I hope I said the right thing. Did you say what I said? And like you don't have time to converse because they're like, go in the room. Like,
oh. You just cross your fingers at some point. You're like, oh.
Like at one point, I think they said, I don't care if you're in the bathroom. If we hear your name getting called for the DR, get up and go. Like,
right. So it's like, okay, just a lot of times it's just like, okay, whatever the last name that you hear before going into that room is more than likely the name you're probably going to say. So like, that's just so scary.
All right. So now I think during that little transition period, I think I brought up the next slide here. So these are the next few challenges and how they went down. Looks like red team wins again. The next one looks like Josh, Nate, Santiago, and Manny gets put up.
I hated Arena.
Did Evie, did you vote for Manny in this one?
I did not. This one actually was a split vote for the black team. And the team captain got to choose who went in because we all split the vote.
Okay.
So it was one for, I think it was one or two for each. And then Mark was the captain. So he got to split the vote and he put Emmanuel in.
Gotcha.
But the arena was like the Yahtzee. It was just luck. You just shake a cup and hope you get the numbers.
Oh, that's rough to lose on a luck challenge like that. So
yeah. That's scary.
I know it's Yahtzee, so there's some skill, but you can like keep numbers the same and whatnot. But what was your thought process, Jake, for putting Josh in this arena?
So
because you're at the blue team at this time. So
yeah, so like basically it was kind of split 2 and 2. You had Josh and Benner on one side, you had Dave and I on the other side, and I think something that people really
Josh says to Dave to Josh.
Yeah.
So
because Dave was the team captain that round, so I knew that if we tied it, then Dave was going to be able to throw Josh in, and like I had just found out that Josh had told Dave that Benner was my bae. And he didn't realize that Dave and I were like super tight. And so like when I found out that information, that's when I was just like, Josh, sorry, I'm voting you in. And like, and I told him straight up because at that point it was just like, I'm
Mhm.
sorry. Like I told you that in confidence, and then you go and you tell that. And but he took it like a champ though. Like it just he mine and Dave's relationship was, I think, very underestimated.
Looks like he's saying it himself too. He said he screwed himself over. So
He good sport, man.
Mhm.
Love Josh so much.
Well, unfortunately, we did lose Josh that round. Brings us to the next one. Blue team, once again, you're taking it back from the red team here. So you take home another victory.
This
We'll
I
never
think
switch.
yeah, we had swap teams at this point, so
Oh,
I wasn't blue
surprise.
anymore.
Oh,
Yeah.
well.
And I wasn't black anymore.
I was back on white at
Were
this
you,
point.
oh, okay. Evie, what are you, red?
And I was red.
Red, of course.
The one time you're on red
And
is
that's when I got screwed over.
Oh, I can see it here. I
Evie-
was like, what's going on?
Evie was like if there's a definition of like swap screwed, like Evie was it right here. This is
Mhm.
and
Papa
everybody
signed
knew
it.
it. Everybody knew it, and everybody was on Evie's side right there, and that's why like Santiago got like thrown in. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, there was actually a question that came up earlier about this. Let me pull this up. That's the one I said. I was like, oh, let's get back to this one. Right here from Peyton. How does it feel to be the most Rob player in this cast? And don't worry, people agreed with this too. So
I second it as well.
there you are.
Yeah, it was crazy because it literally once we swapped and I went on red, like it was like, oh, like everyone knew like you're done. Like, and I even asked like my team members at the time, I'm like, did you just pick me as the sacrificial lamb? You just picked me to throw me in. And my team captain at the time was like, well, I'm working with this person. I'm team captain. I'm not throwing myself on the sword for you. So, and you're going in. And I was like, well, I guess that's it.
Now, how were teams chosen? How was the swap arranged this time? I know last time it was done by the people that won the arena. This one,
The same way.
I think it was the same thing. So, who won it?
Santiago.
It was Santiago and somebody else, like
and Nate, it looks like.
Nate. What's
He
his
has an
name?
asterisk by his name, so I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, Santiago and someone else, they got to pick the new teams.
Oh yeah, it was because Santiago beat Manny. That's what it was. He
Mhm.
beat Manny in the luck comp. Okay, yeah. So Santiago and Nate got to pick the new teams,
Gotcha.
and Santiago picked Evie as.
As the sacrificial lamb.
It was horrible.
So, what was the challenge though? Okay, so Santiago, Evie, Peyton, and Papa do go up for this arena competition. Evie, what was your experience? Because this is the first time you go into the arena, right?
Right. And it was the twisted tiles again. So the little Scrabble letters, which Papa had won already.
Oh.
He picked me to go up against him. So it was already kind of written in stone.
Do you have a good like a word, like a spelling kind of thing in your personal skill set? Did you feel kind of comfortable at least?
I did. It's funny. My sister, she was actually watching it, and then after it all came out, she was like, "Oh, I just knew you were going to win that. You spelled really good." She was like, "That's good." And I was like, "Yeah." Except when you're doing it uphill in the Florida heat, it's a little different. But no, it was fun, especially like going against Papa. Like we were talking about it afterwards, and I go, "You picked me." I said, "You already won this. You know I'm going to lose." And he was like, "Well, I didn't want to go against Peyton."
That's what he says too in the comments too. He didn't want to pick you as Peyton. So, so I guess that brings us, Evie. How was the experience after you got voted out? We kind of talked briefly, like this is more a vacation thing. Like, what did you enjoy from this experience from getting voted out at this point?
So I think it was a good time, I would say, like in the game to be voted out, if there is a such thing as a good time of being voted out in the game. You did your day one, you've been able to play, you've been able to strategize, you've been able to actually like get the experience of the game, And I feel like after I got voted out, there was just such a minimal amount of people there. It really, people started playing, you know what I mean? Like people were like arguing, people were attitude, people were stressed, people were, anxiety. Like the game like took a turn. I really want to say maybe the round right after I got out, because after I got out, it was the eating challenge next, and then after the eating challenge, we were going to swim, and I was like, that's a make or break round right there. Like it got real. It got really real.
Knock on wood, I've never lost an eating challenge. Although on the flip side, I don't know how to swim. So I felt good about the first part. And then you said swimming. I was like, nope, I'm out here. So
yeah, so just imagine like doing that after eating like ham or marshmallows and milk or eggs. And then you have to go swim laps in the pool. No.
You got to work out those calories somehow, right?
Oh
or
my God.
It's like a stone, one or the other.
Jake, so you make it into this eating competition. Eating competitions are always like one of the esteemed challenges of any live game show. What did you have to eat? What was your experience like there?
I was super excited about the eating challenge because I knew that was one that I felt like I could do pretty decent in. And at that point, we only had 3 people on our team because Peyton had just went over to the red team. So I only had to eat bananas the first time. Like I had to eat 2 bananas, but like I won my round, thankfully. But it was when I got to the marshmallows that's when it really went downhill. It was like these jumbo marshmallows, like all covered in syrup. And and I was just like, oh my God. Like honestly, at first I'm like, this is fine. Like I'll be good. I took like one big bite and it was all over from there because I took a bite and I tried swallowing it and then it came back up and it was bad. I know it was the worst. But Chris is a champ. He because he went up for he went up more than anybody else on his team. I think everybody else on his team went once and then he went every other time. So, and then he had to do the swimming challenge after that.
Yeah, Papa said the competition, no, the eating one was not for him either. And Josh was like, well, it was all good food, so.
No, I was like watching you guys off the balcony. Meanwhile, like me and Emmanuel are eating, shout out to Kirk, like eating his breakfast of like French toast. And we're like, what's going on over here?
That ruined my appetite. The rest of the day, I was like, I can't even eat. It was.
Now, in the grand scheme of most challenges, talk to by yourself just a little bit about what one would you least likely to play. Would it be the eating challenge? Would you least likely to want a very physical challenge, or are you really despising the chess one that nobody likes? Well, Evie, what one would you least likely want to play?
I think it's that Yahtzee one because it takes no skill set. It's just literally a game of luck. You don't have to be physical. You don't have to have a strong stomach. You don't have to be good at puzzles. You just have to shake a cup and pray that you get the numbers that you want.
Right. I mean, I don't do well with puzzles, but luckily we didn't have we didn't really have any puzzles this season. So I'm like,
says the person that crushed that 25 long freaking puzzle of who, what, where, when, why, and how.
Okay, well that one, but that. Okay, but whatever, whatever. But major, I don't know. I never saw myself as the biggest mental comp threat, because I know that there's people that have wicked crazy memories that can, remember everything super quickly. There's a handful of people that if I was going up against them probably in that one later down the line, Chris would have probably smoked me at that. Nick probably would have smoked me at that, stuff like that. So.
I remember playing some games in person with you, Jake. I think we had a duel against each other. We had to do our best robot impressions. I lost that challenge, so.
Crowd pleaser. I'm all about making people laugh. That's what it is.
All right, well, let's look at our graph here. Are we at this point yet? Are we down to final 2s? Are we at final 8? Or did I
I think we skipped. Because
How's that?
okay, yeah, because the eating challenge was the pool. Like Chris got.
Then you had that big puzzle that you guys had to recreate.
Oh,
Oh, okay, yeah. It was like a telephone puzzle. So like you had one person that was looking at a computer that had like a 5x5 like puzzle that they were looking at, and then they had to tell somebody a few pieces, and then they had to run across the yard, relay it to somebody else, who then had to run up the hill and relay it to like the puzzle person, and they had to try to recreate the puzzle. And so like whoever got the most parts correct ended up winning.
and then it looks like from that, red team wins again. Or am I one ahead?
Right. That's one ahead.
Thank you. So,
Yeah.
white team pulls out a win. Hey, white team!
Right.
I think this is the first time white team has won a challenge. So,
Yep. I was
That's-
on white team a lot and never won anything.
aw.
Crazy.
Josh, thanks for chiming in. We did skip a few specific challenges, yes. So hopefully we get to cover those more in depth next week when we have someone from Red Team, initial Red Team, come and join us, and more from production too. So we'll hear more about behind the scenes stuff, which is always fun to hear. Let's see here. So it looks like blue team is dissolved. And I don't have a slide yet, but I do have one coming. Oh, right here. How's this one? Here we are.
Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
So you are still with Dave, Jake.
Yep. And so at this point, I think what happened is this is when teams just switched again. And I think the four people that are on the black team right now were already on the black team.
Mhm.
And they kept their team exactly the same because it was Peyton and Chris. And so they kept their team, those four, and then they just switched around the white and the red team a little bit. So like when we saw that setup, like immediately red team like came over to us on the white team and was like, we got to separate those four. Like obviously those four are super tight because they all just decided to stay together.
Now, looking at this breakdown from the viewer lounge to watching, a lot of people had their bets on Tabitha pulling out being the last female in the cast. Evie, how was your thoughts about a female winning this? You think maybe one of these times Mayhem can see that?
First of all, shout out to Tabby Lee. Like, love me some her. Like, she was awesome. And even after I got out of the game, I was like, oh, I can definitely see Tabby going at least like Final Four, Final Three. I was like, yeah. She aligned herself with the right people and just played like a real smart game. I was like, get it, girl. Like, she had the right mentality to make it far, you know? Yeah, she crushed it.
Nice. And then, let's see, getting to the next competition here. Looks like Nate, Mark, Chris, and Peyton are all put up.
That was crazy.
That was a big one.
That was, yeah.
Oh.
They
because
were really targeting that black team.
Yeah, I'm telling you, red team was the one to come over to us over on the white team and say like, hey, we're going to target the black team. And so when red team won, we were like, okay, like, are they actually going to target black team or are they just like coming after us? And then when they, when 3 out of the 4 of them got thrown in, we're like, oh, dang, it's real. Like, poor Peyton.
Let's see. It looks like Peyton had a target, though. Looks like his target was Mark, after all. And it looks like that worked to get Mark out of here.
Can we talk about Nate?
Of course. Let's talk about Nate.
Oh, my God. This was heartbreaking.
Okay.
This is
Evie,
so
fill me in.
bad.
I don't know what we have to talk about.
I was watching from outside, so I wasn't, because they were playing that Battleship game, which is probably the most stressful thing I've ever seen in all my years of living. When they played it the first time, you literally could hear like the air conditioning running. It was so quiet. Like, so they played it again, and all you had to do was just remember your numbers and pick other people's out of the little slots.
It didn't go so well.
like
All
as
I
someone
saw from outside was just everyone like,
it,
I didn't see Nate come outside. And we're like, what happened? And
because
he
like
said,
oh my god, yeah, keep going.
he's like, I picked my own number.
So
How? Why? What? What, where, when, why, how? Come on. You need to
like
hug me. Come on.
like it was just so bad. He wins 4 arena challenges
Yes.
to get that far, and it goes out like that. Like I felt horrible.
I felt so bad because even like people were saying like the only person that can get Nate out is Nate because he just kept dominating, like dominating the arenas.
Yeah, that was a hard round.
It was like
That
1-1. So whoever picked the next one was like going out.
hmm Yeah, because it was at like one point, they all 4 of them, yeah, had one piece, like had one token left, and so it was just a matter of time before people were gonna start getting taken out, and then it's like Nate, no.
I never
Like,
want to watch that game ever again in my life.
yeah, that was probably the one elimination I really didn't want to do because just like I don't know, you have absolutely like no control really. Like you can put your things in there, but you can't control what other people pick. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I didn't like that.
Yes.
It was a rough one. Nate, I feel like this is the opposite of a shout out. I think Evie and Jake had a lot of shout outs being icons here, and I think they just did like the reverse of a shout out to you. They're shouting out to the viewers lounge, to the commenters, and so yay. Not yay, of course, but like, hey.
That was just a tough elimination
It was.
and all because like I loved everybody that was up there and like I was kind of close with everybody that was up there, so there wasn't like no perfect outcome.
Thank you, Destiny. I was saving that until Evie was out, and she was out, and I forgot to get back to your question. So, Destiny, thanks for chiming in. Destiny's question, because Destiny's question was, who is the player you wish left before they did? So, Evie, if you could go back in time and you had a magic superpower to eliminate somebody before you got eliminated, who would that be? I can try
Maybe
to
I
get
should
your.
eliminate Papa since he eliminated me.
Okay. There you go. Thanks, Destiny, for chiming back in. And I'm sorry that I skipped that question when I had what prepared too in my mind. I was like, oh, this is going to be the perfect time. There's that. And then so. Let's see here. Nicole did want to pop in and say Nate is good people. So.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of people who had been voted out had Nate winning it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's why we had to vote him in again. Like I felt so bad because I voted him into that elimination that he got out in, and so like because Dave and I I think I was captain that round, and Dave and I had to pick between were we going to vote in Slade or were we going to vote in Nate. Dave wanted to vote in Slade, and and I had voted in Slade like twice already. So I'm like, do I do it again? But then I was like, I was scared I couldn't beat Nate later on down the road, So
well, I think from his past performances, it would be very hard to beat him in a arena challenge, just like we all said. So,
right.
Mm-hmm. All right. Speaking of crushed it, we are bringing it back. We have one person left on black. So, is this the slide? Here it is. So how the switch up goes, looks like Bill is the lone person over on the team. So
I thought they were gonna let Bill pick a team at this point. I thought they were just gonna dissolve black team and he was gonna go on either red or white. But they're like, and on to your next challenge. And we're like, what? Like Bill is by himself. And it's just like so that was right. So it's like, and he hadn't gotten voted into an arena yet at that point. But it was like if he didn't win the challenge, he was automatically in the arena.
So he doesn't win the challenge. Do you all recall what the challenge was?
It was the clicker ones. So like, two people got sent into the like diary room area, and you had like a little clicker, like a little counter, and you had to hold it above your head. And when the lights turned out, oh, they gave you a number. So like my number was like 400, and so I had to try to get 400 clicks on that clicker in a certain amount of time. But they didn't
Wow.
tell you like, yeah, they didn't tell you like how long it was going to be. They just turned the lights off, and whenever the lights came back on, then you had to stop. But you had, you had members of production and people from out of the game just yelling at you like the entire time, like
Oh, that
throwing
is
out
so
insults.
distracting.
Yeah, they throw out insults. They like
Bill said that button will haunt him for the rest of his life. Oh dear.
yeah. that was
That is so.
And it looks like past players got to yell at people or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so we
like,
can go in and just like scream obscenities at him, and I mean just
oh.
any of like the most randomest things you could like think of.
Well, Evie, as an eliminated player at this point, did you get a little scream on too? Did you get to yell at people?
Oh, I absolutely yelled at people. Oh, it was the best. I remember at one point I'm in there like screaming, and you're just like trying to say stuff to like get people riled up and like get their concentration off. So I'm in Chris's face. I'm like yelling at him. And I'm like, no one cares about your dog. Your dog. Mind you, I don't know if he has a dog. I just like, and like once the game's over, he's like, someone got really personal in there and was talking about my dog. I was like, sorry, that was me. Didn't know. And all the time, I was like, didn't know. Just thought it would be a soft spot for someone in here.
Josh and Evie, you had some funny stuff going on. So
It was
I was
a good
laughing.
Your credit score is garbage.
I don't know who said that, but I would be hurt by that. I'd be like, oh, what happened? I was doing so well. Like when you go on and like refresh it, you're like, oh no. And then Nicole had an interesting tactic, Biden 2020. All right. Maybe she said it so loud it worked. So hey, thank you, Nicole.
Oh my god, it was so fun. That was a good one. That was a very good challenge. I didn't like the outcome, but it was a good challenge.
Let's see here. Going on to the next challenge then. So unfortunately, of course, where'd it go? We lost Bill. And then we also lost Slade. Dave makes it through though. Your buddy Dave.
Mm-hmm.
And then Chris.
Mm-hmm. I was excited about that, honestly. Like, because at that point, Dave and Chris were kind of like the two I was closest to at that point. I had worked the most with them at that point, so I was happy to still see them both in the game. That round was like super crazy though, because there was only like 5 people eligible to get into elimination, and I was the only person eligible that didn't get voted into elimination that round. that was crazy.
Yeah, so it looks like you are finally thrown in to an arena though, Jake. Round 12.
The purge.
So is everyone in? Oh, that's what it's called, the purge. Okay.
Yeah. So Chris and Dave got to split everybody into 4 pairs. And so it was like your partner, and then you basically did a tournament of the blind Connect 4 challenge. And if you lost your 2 matches, you were eliminated. But if you won your 2 matches, you were in the final 4. And then everybody else went into the arena. So
here we go. We have here we are.
Mm-hmm. But mind you, like the Blind Connect 4 was like in the pitch black with just like lights and like outdoor, and like there was rain falling and there was drama and there was wet.
It was so dramatic. Like there's like 6 different people that had to pull their cars over and like turn on their brights so that we had some light.
Chris says the purge though. Oh,
Oh my god.
It was
I
drama.
I will tell you, winning that first round of the purge though, like with Chris, was one of the best moments. Just because, like, knowing that we weren't gonna get purged out at that time, and just like winning in that moment, it was so great. But then I felt like the lowest when we lost that next that very next round. Like that was probably like one of my lowest points the entire game, was like losing that second round, because I was like, it's so stressful. A lot of
Yeah.
emotions.
I wasn't even playing, and I was like, Jake, come here.
I
Aw.
know. Uh, it was so bad. It was so bad. Like because I was holding stuff in like all day. I was keeping it together pretty well for the most part. But then like right there, I was just like, like right when they were like Peyton and Marcelino win, I was like, oh no.
Mm.
Because I avoided elimination all day. Like I didn't want to go in.
So you don't get sent home or anything, and now we have the final four.
Yeah.
What
One from
happens
each.
at this point, Jake?
So at the final four, like right after the elimination, they say, okay, now all the eliminated contestants get to vote for one of the four to get an express pass all the way to the final two. So that was so you had to basically, like, the four of us were like walking around the room just like talking to everybody like, hey, can you vote for me? Like, hey, like
Well,
and
let's see if your strategy worked. Evie, how was your take?
Yes, you put in your legacy vote, and I gave mine to Jake. Yeah, I did. We bonded over that teapot that one night, and
That's what it is.
and
That
that's what it
tea.
was. Oh my God, how
That's
about Dave?
yeah, Dave got 0 votes. Like like it was. I felt bad because like I love Dave. Like Dave, like but I don't know. I don't know why people were so anti-Dave, but I think a lot of the same people who would have voted for Dave would have voted for me. So, I'm just like,
And then remember,
okay.
it came down to all one vote in the end. It was a tie.
Yeah. So like, they said at the very beginning that if it tied, then Dominique got to break the tie.
Oh.
She went out first.
Yeah. And
So,
so, no, go ahead. You can say it.
Yeah.
so she got to break the tie or whatever. And she basically got up and said in her speech, if I was still in the game, this would have been a $1,200 decision. And she meant that because Peyton was her bay. So then she gave him the extra vote. And he got the extra one vote in order to win the legacy. And he advanced straight to the finals.
Wow.
Crazy. I'm telling you, like, sometimes the stuff that was happening, you were just like, it was like mind-blowing. Like, you couldn't.
It's really impressive to see how the production was able to use the voted out players so well and like integrated them into the challenges and even in the decision process, and especially that tiebreaker. Like, who gets to pick it? Like, do they go to a revote? No, it's the first person eliminated. Like, these rules are just genius, and great job by production. It was really enjoyable to see because, like we've said so many times, this Mayhem Manor is really more of a vacation getaway. So you're still having fun. You're still kind of playing the game, but you're not. You get to do these little things here and there. But ultimately, like, there's a huge decision still that Dominique just made to have that express pass used. So
I love it. Such a good job.
That was like such a stressful like 5 minutes, whatever it was, because like I had to go to people that I hadn't talked to for like hours, days, and just
people
be like,
had to vote out essentially too and put them up for the arena.
Right. And like I got a wide range of like, yeah, I'll vote for you 100% to like, no, I'm voting for Peyton, or like, or like, maybe, but I might go this way or this way. So it's like, I don't know. I kept hearing that it was going to be close either way. So was just hoping for the best. But I had a feeling once it tied that Peyton was going to go through because I knew Dominique and Peyton were really cool. Like we're really close. So
Hashtag OG Team Blue.
Team Blue.
All right, so from the finals here, Peyton goes on, so it's up to Dave, Jake, Marcelino. What was the final competition to get into the final two, I guess? Is that how it went?
Yeah, so then the three of us had to compete in a challenge, which again, one of the most stressful 10 minutes of my life. Like, so we basically got a stack of cards, and it was all of the eliminated players and then all of the arenas, and we had to put them in order for like when they got eliminated, like the boo order, and then what arena that they lost. And oh my god, that was. Like that was crazy. Like I knew going into that when like Dave told me straight up, he's like, if it's any sort of memory, I'm out. Like I'm done. And so I knew it basically came down to me and Marcelino at that point.
Yeah, but you did it so fast though.
Yeah, it
You
took
did?
like
Nice
8
job, sir.
It took like 8 checks though. Like it was like, because like the thing that I kept getting wrong is Clayton's medevac. Like I had Clayton's medevac way too early. I had it above when Conrad got eliminated. But he didn't get medevac until after,
Mhm.
and that elimination. So I had that wrong the entire time, and I'm like switching around everything in the middle, and I'm just like, oh my god, like what is going on here? So like I just had to backtrack, and I was like, okay, purge round, boom, boom, and then backtrack, and then finally I figured it out. But like
And
the
then as soon as
music,
you figured, you're like checking, then Mars was like done. Like,
yeah. Yeah, Marcelino finished literally like 10-ish seconds like after me, or
Josh
25
chimed in, so
seconds.
like 25. Like we'll say 15. Okay, so
It was close, and like they had the dramatic music playing in the back. The speaker was like right behind me, and I couldn't think. And I'm like, oh my god, like this is way too stressful.
it literally the music that was playing on the screen said most dramatic music ever.
and
Like
Jake was thinking
nobody.
most dramatic moment ever. I have to get this.
Yeah, it was like, and everybody was just like sitting there watching, super quiet because nobody was allowed to help or anything. And so it's like, I can only imagine people sitting there and seeing that I had the medevac thing wrong that entire time. And they're probably just thinking, like, dude, you're switching the wrong thing. Like, what's going on? But I don't know. I tuned everybody out. Like, I was like, it's just me and the cards. Which I brought home too. That was my souvenir.
Right.
I brought those
Oh, so
deck
you
of
can play
cards
it in
home.
your spare time. It looks like here's a layout of all the cards you had to lay out and the order. I can see on the left-hand
Yeah.
side. I know you can't see it it's not zoomed in pretty well, but that's a ton of cards, a ton of names. I could barely even remember all the names, and I had like prepared all the slides for our cast assessment. I was like, who is this person again? So, and you just met most of these people. I know you were familiar with some people from online, but
Right.
a lot of these people were brand new.
Yeah. Like there's a good chunk of people I had never even heard of before coming coming in here. So like it was something. I was so happy though. Like the moment, like I watched that video over and over again, and I'm just like, ah.
Well, we're almost done here, folks. So I guess this takes to the next image. I think this is you're familiar with this pool.
Oh.
Jake, what was going on?
Oh.
What was this last challenge?
So what happened was Peyton and I started at one end of the pool, and then they'd ask a question, and the answer was a number. And there were like in the pool, there was these little like spots that had different numbers on them. And so you were trying to get a number that was as close to the answer as possible. And for every like point, or for every however many you were away from the actual answer, that's how many points you got. And then once you got to 21 points, you were out.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this game was played previously before, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you pick up any
Yeah,
strategies
like Peyton
that they?
had one. Listen to the people on the outside. Like that was like, and just grab as many numbers in the beginning as you can, and then like just go over to the side and kind of sort through them, and then just try to find a number that is as close to your answer as you can, really.
Mhm.
Because if you're like looking for one specific number the entire time, you're just gonna get caught up and tired just going under the entire time.
So you might as well grab whatever's
And people
closest
can help
that you
you.
can think
People
of.
were
Nice.
right, and people like were like just screaming answers and everything.
Remember, that was your second half, because remember, for the first half of the finale, you guys had to play the Yahtzee.
Oh,
Oh, you
yeah.
got a luck based right
It
at
was
the end too?
That
I
was
didn't
the
see
first
that part. I saw
half.
the pool.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that one was super intense too, because it was the dice game. So like they would show like a set of dice on a computer screen, just like at 4 random numbers. So like if it was like 2, 3, 3, 4, then you rolled like 10 dice and you wanted to try to get those 4, in your cup or whatever. You wanted to roll those 4, but like if you didn't roll 4, you had to decide if you wanted to keep rolling or lock it in and stick with however many that you got. So it's like that's the only little bit of strategy that you really put in there. Is like, do I stay or do I not? But otherwise, it's like all luck, and I don't know. Oh, there is strategy to liars. Oh wow. Okay.
To
Nate
liar's
says
dice.
there's-
It's a little
Okay.
different than what they were playing, but so congratulations. Like the challenge and like Mayhem Manor, the winner of the challenge wins the crown. And Jake, I think we have a right here. There you are. Congratulations.
Oh.
Right there.
Yeah, I was very emotional. A lot of everything just I like for the amount of stress that like that game induces on everybody that's playing it. It was just like a relief for it like all to pay off. You know what I mean? And so I don't know. I couldn't contain myself.
Well, it was a huge event. You made it through 28 other people, and you got that far. You won the final challenges after avoiding the arena so often. You made it through a great cast of players. Huge powerhouses, huge social threats, huge comeback people, and you made it, and you pulled it through. So, once again, congratulations.
Thank you. And I did it all with going to the wrong airport on day 1. Flew into the wrong airport, and here I am.
We didn't hear this backstory. Okay, we're going to go all the way back to the start now here. You went to the wrong airport?
Yeah, apparently there's 2 airports in Orlando, and I went to the wrong one. But yeah, it was fun. So Stephanie Daniels had to come and drive and like pick me up an hour out of the way.
So really, I think this crown goes to her then, right? You would
Yeah,
have
like
been there without her.
right. And I was one of her fantasy picks, I guess. So that makes total sense now.
So she's like, he has to play. Like, I will go out of my way and pick him up.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a blast. I was just thankful for everybody that let me be a part of it. Honestly, like it was incredible experience that I will take with me forever. Met some amazing people, and you can't beat that.
No, I guess all the behind the scenes stuff that we didn't really get ton of time to talk about. We talked about the challenges, a lot of how the votes went down. Evie, what's one kind of secret alliance or secret move you tried to pull off, or something that maybe a lot of people didn't know that you want to come clean about, or just say something that, hey, I did this move and you didn't know about?
I wasn't doing too much, I was just trying to be like as inconspicuous as possible, because like I said, it was just so many people that were like, oh, hey, I was waiting to meet you. That cast review, that's
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
You've got people picture in their top 4. We can't wait to see what you do. And I'm like, actually, I'm not going to do anything.
Well, I was excited. Okay, pop
Really
up my
quiet.
cast picture right here. So I picked Jake, Jerica, 2 homeschool people for me, like both from Michigan, Nicole from covering the Totem Pole, and then Evie, you're my random pick. Like, you were all nice with your little like a bucket of sand, which there's no sand in the bucket, but you were like, I was like, oh, she seems nice.
They were like, no, you're
And
going
then
down.
3 out of the 4 of us were like, oh, she seems nice. Let's put her in our finals. Like, so
Who knows?
I don't know, but
Yeah, that was definitely my thing. Was like, I'm
I
not a
hope you
fan.
receive that as a compliment from us, though. Like, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Your personality just like comes through photographs, and we were like, oh, this person, she's amazing. She has to be nice, and maybe we'll get some tea together. I'll make up for it.
Right.
You want some tea?
Exactly. We'll just build our friendship over a pot of tea next time.
I hope so.
Look, invite Destiny and we're all good.
Perfect. She's gonna be spilling a little other tea though. So,
Truths, all truths.
Evie, what was your biggest takeaway? You get to meet all these people, have a great time. Like, there's so many things you could take away. Like, Evie, what do you want to say about this trip? I guess.
I would say, and we talked about it kind of when we were at the house, I feel like Mayhem is such a great game because it brings so many different people together. I mean, people that you probably wouldn't just, grab a cup of tea with on the regular. You know what I mean? You don't really get the chance to meet someone from every walk of life, be it, short, tall, big, small, brown, black, a little bit in between. You know what I mean? Everyone comes together. And even though you're fighting it out for this prize, at the end, once the day is over and we're stopped for the night, we all just sit downstairs and have a good time with each other because we're just kind of happy to be in each other's presence and, find out more about these people that we don't know and just be social and great together.
A few last comments from our people at home, shouting out to Evie. Absolutely amazing, nicest person on the cast.
Not yelling at your dog, Chris.
People were scared of you after the first vote. We talked earlier too when there's so many comments I can't even hardly keep up with them, but so many people shouted out to Evie at first, saying icon and everything, being such a nice person.
Thanks.
But
Yeah,
we're gonna bring it back to Jake. Jake, congratulations again for making it that far and making it to the game from arriving at the wrong airport that we just found out. So Stephanie Daniels,
Yeah.
shout out to you. Thank you.
Much love, Stephanie.
Similar question to you, Jake. All these games are different. It's a unique experience for everyone. It's amazing. And so what was amazing to you, I guess we could say?
I mean, pretty similar to Eevee. It's like that's the best thing about these games is it brings so many different people together, but at the same time, we all have something in common where we all love to compete and we all love to put ourselves through this crazy stress, but then at the end of the night, we can still party with each other, and so it's just super cool to feel that sense of community where we can share being in competition with each other, but then at the same time we know at the end of the day it's a game and we can love each other, and I don't know, I just love being part of it, and I always thought it was super nerdy for liking all this stuff, so it's nice to be with people that I feel super accepted by. Not to get all sappy or anything, but
Right.
I know, but I just I love the game though too. This game was because I play online, and so it's nothing like playing in person is so much different than playing online, and it's just the connections that you build are just so much stronger and so much better, and it's great. I love it.
All right. Well, speaking of this community, you can check out this community at facebook.com/live reality games. You can check out our podcast anywhere you find podcasts. Just search Live Reality Games. For more information, of course, Live Reality Games. I can't say it enough, and I can't thank these two enough for being here tonight. Evie and our winner, Jake, thanks for being on. Mayhem Manor will be doing next season, season 4. Eventually, there are games casting for next season. So if you're interested in joining Mayhem Manor, if you're interested in joining Survivor, Pennsylvania. If you're all the way over in the Australian region, we also have Backyard Survivor casting their next season as well. So go over to facebook.com/LRG casting, and that is a group. So you'll find that under the groups tab for Facebook. Thanks again, everyone, for joining us tonight. Everyone in the comments, I know everyone had tons of comments. I wasn't able to put all of them on the board. So Evie and Jake, I suggest both of you go through all the comments to see all the great things said about you. There was too many buttons I couldn't push, people. I'm so sorry, but thank you for joining us, and thank you for joining us for the next one. So make sure you subscribe to YouTube or Facebook, and everyone have a fantastic night.